I am an African, a very proud African, and I'm into farming. And so I know quite a lot about plants and seeds. When I grow crops that produces seeds and I harvest them, I know I don't have to worry about seeds for the next crop season because the seeds in the harvested crops will be good enough for the next crop season. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the tradition observed all over the world from the very beginning of human existence. In fact, that's how the world's food cycle has been preserved and sustained. But in recent times, you grow a crop like maize and you harvest them and you store some portion of it as seeds for the next crop season. But when that time comes and you have to replant those maize seeds that you stored, it fails to germinate or very few germinate. Ladies and gentlemen, then it becomes a problem. The cycle we have known since the beginning of time seems to be broken or undergoing some drastic changes. Because this time, when you harvest crops with seeds, you wouldn't need its seeds to replant that crop because you cannot be sure the seeds will germinate. And so, you have to resort to buying new seeds at the beginning of every crop season. Ladies and gentlemen, they call them improved seeds. I mean, these new seeds you have to buy. And indeed, they look quite different from the traditional seeds we used to plant. They are bulkier, juicier, and with a different color. Ladies and gentlemen, something is happening to the seeds we are used to, the ones we knew. Something is happening to them. Some of these so-called improved seeds die after one harvest. They cannot go beyond one cycle. We are told due to climatic changes and the new types of crops, pests, and diseases, seeds will have to be improved. So certain clinical adjustments have been made to these seeds to make them resilient to the elements that fight them. And we are also told these clinical adjustments aren't harmful to our bodies. And I'm wondering, could that be the whole truth, ladies and gentlemen? So as usual, I did my research into who actually controls these new clinically improved seeds from maize, soya beans, and vegetable seeds. And a German company's name came up, Bayer Crop Science in Leverkusen, Germany. It is the largest company that produces improved crop seeds in the world. And their seeds are distributed to 100 countries all over the world. Their main occupation is to produce genetically modified and hybrid seeds, what is simply termed GMOs. Their main brands include DeKalb, Asgrow, and Seminis. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the African countries that uses these three brands of GMO seeds from DeKalb, Asgrow, and Seminis from Bayer Crop Science in Germany. They are South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, Ghana, and Zimbabwe. I have nothing against this company. I am, however, interested in knowing why certain crop seeds don't germinate after one cycle of cultivation. And that is all I want to know. So calm down. But I didn't stop there. I asked myself, what happened to our own natural organic seeds? Is it true that they cannot survive in this era of new crop diseases and pests? Ladies and gentlemen, my research showed no. They can perfectly grow and yield in this so-called new disease and new variants era. So if that is the case, why are we not using them, ladies and gentlemen? Why are our farmers not interested in growing organic crops like they used to grow them? And yes, my question was answered. They do grow them. In fact, many farmers have them stored in their barns, but they also grow more of the modified seeds for the consumer market, ladies and gentlemen, because the modified seeds yields are bigger and maturation times are shorter. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem we have today. Profit margins is what determines the type of produce you see on the market. My biggest worry, however, is this. Most farmers don't sell in the supermarkets in Africa. So there aren't labels on the products to know what type of product you are buying. But you as an individual, if you care so much about the type of foods you eat and you want to be sure of what you are putting into your body, then the right thing to do is you have to resort to only buy from the supermarket where the labels are indicated whether it is organic or inorganic, ladies and gentlemen. And even with that, we hope they are not lying to us. However, the majority of our people just buy from the local market. And so, if GMOs one day comes with any health-related problems, most of our people will automatically be affected. Take, for instance, in Europe, the most common illness is cardiovascular diseases, which cause heart attacks or heart diseases, leading to deaths. The most fundamental cause is hypertension, or what we normally call as high blood pressure, which is also caused by the type of food one eats. Then they also have diabetes as one of the common illness in Europe, also caused by eating the wrong type of food. The question is, ladies and gentlemen, is hypertension and diabetes a major problem in Africa today? The answer is yes, unfortunately. This is the list of African countries with the highest records of hypertension cases: Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, Egypt, DRC, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, and Senegal, majority of which grow GMO seeds. And this is the list of African countries with the highest recorded cases of diabetes: still South Africa, Egypt, Sudan, Nigeria, Ghana, and Tunisia. I am not saying these foods are the reasons these two diseases are prevalent in Africa. I am saying we need to decide the type of food we put into our bodies. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa is under attack from every angle you can possibly imagine. There are those people who fear our growing population. There are people who fear that our numbers are increasing. Until recently, we were the minority race in the world. But now we have passed the white Western population and chasing Asia. This is a threat to the world in many ways. It is projected that by the end of this century, Africa is expected to have nearly 3 times the population of the West, which also means by the year 2100, everywhere you go and you see one white man, you also see 3 black men. That's scary. And I know it's dreadful to the ears of many Western powers. This could be the one reason why the West won't leave Africa alone. They see how India and China have overwhelmed them with their numbers and now in science and technology. And they wouldn't want to see Africa get on that level. Therefore, we as Africans need to guard our lives from every possible angle. The food we eat largely determines or influences our birth rates. The food we eat is therefore of immense importance to our continuity as a people. We have to bring back the love for organic foods. We have to start teaching it in classrooms again. It is important that, ladies and gentlemen, we have our own labs to develop our seeds, because it will be very, very easy for an enemy to wipe us out with just one pinch of a poisonous chemical. Our survival should be our business. Our food should be our business. Our health should be our business. The fertilizers we import can be made right here. The most commonly imported fertilizer in Africa is urea. It is a nitrogen-based fertilizer which boosts crop yield. The main raw materials of producing this fertilizer is derived from natural gas, which is found in Africa. It is a combination of ammonia and carbon dioxide. There is nothing too technical or special about its manufacturing. Many countries have these raw materials in Africa to produce them. So far, Morocco is the largest in the business, and other countries like Egypt, Algeria, and Nigeria are massively making their own fertilizers. This is the way to go, ladies and gentlemen. If we control our seeds and our fertilizers, we can take care of our health to some extent. We don't need some German company determining what we grow and what we eat. What are our science universities for? We need to invest in these areas and take care of our food security. Science and technology is the future for Africa. We cannot leave that in the hands of Westerners. When COVID hit the world, I want you to catch this story. When COVID hit the world, Trump was president of America, and he quickly realized how weak America was in terms of taking care of the basic needs of the people. In a matter of weeks, many supermarkets ran out of essential supplies in America. Trump asked for supplies, and then he was told that they are actually coming from China and the rest of the world. Most of their goods were being imported. He saw it as a threat to national security. And in my mind, ladies and gentlemen, that's why in his second term, he is raising tariffs to strong arm the American corporations who have moved out of America to bring their productions back to America. He realized if America should experience war in their land in less than 3 months, they wouldn't have food and supplies to depend on. Ladies and gentlemen, does African leaders think this direction? Do they actually think this way? Do they consider the worst case scenarios? Can we be self-reliant if the world experiences food shortages? We need to wake up and start thinking like men at war. Let's save our seeds and our future. We have good days ahead of us. Folks, Africa's future is bright and it's all ahead of us. And we have to strategically fight and push into it. Thanks for your audience, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't. I'll come your way with another one very soon. God bless Africa, and it's bye-bye for now.